Not you trying to be more American than the American.
Why are you faking your accent?
It's not even your country for real.
They're so funny. They think if they play American enough, they will be
You're
American.
actually such a wannabe.
Hi, wannabes, and welcome back to Wannabe Americana, a podcast for outsiders by an outsider. I'm your host, Bianim Isibor. Hi, hello. How's everyone doing? So, today we have another guest, you guys. Who am I? Biani, of course. And honestly, I found her on TikTok and I absolutely love what she puts out. She has been so open and vulnerable with like sharing her story of moving out of her African household. Also, she's African, but she's Gambian. And in my life, I've never met somebody from Gambia before. So this was very exciting. It's going to be a very exciting conversation. And for all my girlies or anyone who is scared of moving out, doesn't know what to do, doesn't know how to go about it, I feel like this episode would be the perfect episode for you. So get settled in and just imagine the facial expressions as you listen. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my girl Awa to Wannabe Americana.
Hello. Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am great, thanks.
How has life been since moving out?
Life has honestly been a roller coaster, but for the most part, it has been great. And it is honestly the best decision I have ever made for myself. I do not regret it one bit. I think,
Period.
going into it, I was scared, but like a year and a half later, I just feel so much more liberated and free. But yeah, life is better.
I'm happy for you. I've been wanting to move out for the longest time, but it's just like the funds, it's not correlating, and I'm not about to like leave and suffer outside. Like it's not for me. So yeah,
I feel you.
but you know, it is what it is. I gotta manage myself. Like it's not too bad. So I'm like chilling. But
Yes.
what was the moment you knew you had to move out?
Girl, I feel like I've known for ages. So a bit of background. Of course, I'm an eldest daughter and there is a 13-year age gap between me and my little brother and 16 between me and my little sister. So I kind of feel like as they started to get older and the house was a bit more hectic and my mum just wasn't really able to, cope with everything, that's sort of when I knew, okay, I need to work towards like moving out. And I got a job just after I finished uni. So this was in 2019. And that's when I knew I need to work towards moving out someday. So yeah, I think literally it's 4 years before I actually moved out is when I knew that I had to go,
Yeah, but like I feel like I sometimes have guilt. Like when I was first moving to the US, I had this guilt of like leaving my siblings and like how are they going to cope without me. I felt very special with myself thinking because I've always been kind of the person that stood up for them or like was the mouthpiece. I took all the, all the insults. I took everything just so that they don't have to go through it. So like that guilt of like leaving them behind, knowing that we're to live life at the end of the day, but like still leaving them behind. How did you cope with that?
It was hard. It was very, very hard. I can definitely resonate with what you said there in terms of like being the one who just sort of took everything. And I felt like that's exactly what my role was. And, when I got approved for my place, I was just like, I'm leaving my siblings behind. Like, they're not going to have anyone to sort of like look over them and like, just sort of like put them in their place a little bit because my mum just wasn't very good at doing that. So I was the only one that they listened to. So anytime they were sort of misbehaving, I had to like step in and like be like, guys, you shouldn't be doing this, and sort of like try to guide them and give them advice and everything. Like sometimes I didn't go about it the right way, but I'm hoping that someday they understand that I mean well. But it was hard.
I hope they understand that I had to do this for me. Like, even though I did leave them, because sometimes I'm feeling super selfish with myself. I'm like, bro, like, and then obviously I get reminded of how selfish I am. It's honestly at this point, being called selfish is a compliment. But like, I get reminded of like how selfish I am, or like, I don't care about them enough, or I'm not, I don't think about them and like the decisions I make and everything. So like, how did you, or how are you? Because this is like a continuous process. Like, hoping that your siblings kind of understand that like you had to do this for you so that you could help them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I definitely did feel like I was selfish at first. I was like, is this the right decision? But my mental health was not in a good place. And I just was not happy. So I knew I had to do this. But now, because I've grown so much, like I'm in a place where I'm like, I don't regret it. And I'm still there for them. Like I still talk to them. I'll still see them where I can and everything. And it needed to happen because it just wasn't a healthy environment. Like my mum and I, our relationship was not good. We were arguing all the time, and I felt guilty because my siblings were, seeing that. And I noticed that my brother was sort of taking on certain traits that I had, like when I would get frustrated and like sort of going back and forth with my mum. And that also added to my guilt because I was just like, this is not who I am. I don't like this side of me. I don't want him to see that and think that that's okay. So I carried that guilt for a long time, but now I can say I don't feel guilty anymore. Like it was the best for everyone, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, I'm super happy for you. Like, I'm glad that you're like in a better place. I feel like with guilt is something that you carry, or you still like you just learn how to like not carry as much. So like you leave different parts of it, as you go on in life and stuff like that. But I do want to know, how did you cope with like the finances and like, dealing with that? Because I feel like I'm usually in denial half the time that I'm still a kid, but being 25, I think it's time to understand that there's stuff like rent to pay, having to deal with my medical insurance, So like, how are you like, you know what? I think it's time for me to stand on my own. I got the money now. This is how I'm going to like continuously pay for rent. This is how I'm going to do this. This is how I'm going to do that. How did you get to that point?
Good question. Yes. So this is something that I haven't actually spoken about on my TikTok, which I've been meaning to. I just need to figure out a way to go about it. But like, I've always been quite good with money. And I think that sort of stems from growing up poor, if I'm being honest with you. Like me and my mum, we had a period of time where we really struggled. Like I always make the joke of like, there were times where I had to go to bed for dinner.
Yeah.
There was no...
I relate with that.
Do you get what I mean?
Girl,
there
I
was
get it.
no food. So it was just like, well, I'm hungry and, I just have to go to bed to just like, deal with that.
Not feel hungry no more. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So, experiencing that definitely like put a battery in my back. And I was like, yeah, well, I need to make sure that I stack my money when I get it because I don't ever want to go through that again. So, I had moments like when I was like in my teens when I would get like birthday money or, lunch money. Sometimes I remember like I really wanted these like Nike shoes. So I saved up my lunch money and instead of having lunch, I bought them because I wanted them so bad.
Period. Priorities.
So I've sort of always been good at saving. And then, like I said, when I got my job after uni, that's when I was like really disciplined. And, unfortunately, when you have to like work towards something when it comes to your finances, it sort of affects different areas of your life. And I noticed that it affected like certain friendships because like instead of me like wanting to, go and do activities with them or like go out and whatever, I was like, nah, like I'm gonna take extra shifts so that I can save money, because I need to move out and all of that. And I would say like thank God I've always been quite lucky when it comes to money. Somehow I'm good at manifesting it. So I always set myself a goal like every year about like how much I want to like save and how much I'll put away each month. And that's what I did. And then I was able to, afford to move out. And I would say it's difficult for a lot of people. And I acknowledge that I'm actually quite lucky. So that's how I approached it.
I do want to go back to like the part where you were like you had to miss certain activities with friends. I do want to understand like those friendship dynamics because I feel like sometimes in situations like that you need emotionally mature friends to know that I'm not trying to hang out with you, bro. I'm trying to get out of my house. But then after that, then I could. So like, did you have friends that were very understanding of the fact, or did you have to lose a couple friends because of the situation you're in?
Yeah, most of my friends were understanding. Like, to be honest, it was literally just one friend that I'm no longer friends with because it's almost as if she didn't understand that I was going through so much at home. And for me, it was so important for me to, grind and work hard and save my money because, her experience was a bit different to me.
Yeah.
Like she had parents who, was able to give her money and stuff like that. So I couldn't relate. And it's almost as if like she wanted me to always like come over hers and just chill and gossip and, or like go out places or spend money on food and all of that. And it was just like, I couldn't do that, So that friendship in the end didn't work out for like other reasons. But at the same time, that is something that I considered. But literally like all of my friends were always understanding of that. Like no one ever made me feel like, oh, well, she's boring. We're not going to invite her out. Like I never experienced that with them. Like this was like, like later on in life. Obviously when I was younger, like it was a bit different. Like I didn't go out because I was like, I didn't realize that I was struggling with my mental health. So I'd make excuses not to go out. Like this was literally like, I don't know, like 13 or whatever. But like once I started working, it was more a financial thing and they always understood that. So I'm very grateful.
I love that for you. What's one advice you'd give to anyone who is in the situation right now and who's trying to get their money up to either work towards something or they're having difficulties because, maybe their parents can't afford it and they understand that. So they have to like figure out a way to like do it for themselves because that's what they want for themselves. And like, navigating that in terms of like family, friendships and staying focused on the goal.
Yeah. The advice that I would give is that, because I think, again, growing up, like struggling and all of that, it can definitely make a lot of people frugal or like some people are the opposite. Like when they get money, they like spend. I would definitely say if you're afraid of like spending your finances and all of that, you have to remember that money is to be spent. Like you have to spend it at some point, and I think it's important to give yourself goals for each month or each year of like how much you want to put aside for, say, if you want to move out or anything. But then also remember that like you have to do it within your means. Like some people will think that they have to put like, obviously I'm from the UK, like everyone will think, oh, I have to put like £1,000 each month. Like not everyone's capable of doing that. Even if you're able to just put away like £10 each month, that's just as good. You never know what may come in the future, like a better job or different opportunities and stuff like that. So I feel like, living within your means and reminding yourself that like everyone's journey is different. Just because you see these people on social media like buying all these like fancy stuff, like you don't know how they got that.
Exactly.
So I just think about your own situation and what you can afford to put away each month and what you can afford to spend on. And don't be so hard on yourself because I was like that. Like I wasn't there was a point in time I wasn't going out, I wasn't buying stuff for myself. Like I wouldn't treat myself and I was just like, this is not fun, So I think just give yourself grace and live within your means. Like don't think about what so and so is doing. Like you don't know how they got it,
I do want to ask, okay, because this is the question that I want to hear from people who move. How did your parents react to you moving out?
So I think at the time, my mum and our relationship was not in a good space. We weren't really communicating as much from what I remember. And I remember like the day that everything got signed off and I finally picked my moving date and everything. I went up to her in the kitchen. Like I sort of alluded to it. I was like, oh mum, like I'm, applying for different like places and whatever. So I might move out soon and everything. So when this was confirmed, I went up to her in the kitchen and I was like, oh, I'm finally moving on this day, just to let you know. She didn't say anything. She was literally just like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, my mum is she's not so much like that now, but when we were living together, it was sort of like, how do I explain it? I'd always say to people, it was like talking to a brick wall. Like she just wouldn't really give me responses. The only time we had much dialogue is when she needed me to do something for her, like in terms of with the kids, like looking after them. Or whenever she wanted something, that's when she would talk to me, basically. Or when we would argue. So me going to her with this, like I knew I wasn't going to get a response like that. if anything, like she just wanted to know the date and like how long, because again, it was me that was like looking after my siblings and waking them up for school and getting them sorted and everything. So like she needed someone else to do that. But at the time, my grandma was coming to the country, which, God's timing. I'm
Perfect
glad because
timing,
at least
exactly.
my siblings had my grandma.
Someone.
Yeah, but she didn't really have much of a reaction. It was actually the rest of my family that were a bit more like, no, you shouldn't leave. Like, what about your siblings? Your mum's going to need your help. And, really getting into my ear. But as for my mum's reaction, she didn't really have one, if I'm being honest.
That's insane. That's insane. There's this like one thing, at least in our Nigerian culture, I don't know if this also happens in Gambian culture, where it's like you can't move out of your house unless you're moving into your husband's house. And I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know. Because that is absolutely insane, because you never get a time of freedom ever in your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, does that happen in Gambian culture
that is
too?
the thing. Oh, yeah. That's part of the reason why my family was like not too keen on me moving out. And I made a video about it last year, actually, where I was like, I've never really agreed with it. I've always said that, once I do meet my person, I want to live with them first before getting married.
Too. Oh my gosh, girl, me too. I told my mom this, and she was like, "You're crazy." And I was like, "How would we know? How would we? What if the one time we now finally move in, you are just disgusting? I'm so sorry, but like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I just cannot. I feel like living with someone, and I know this might not be like typical culture or whatever. I just feel like it is necessary for you to live with someone at least 6 months. At least 6 months, kind of just see the vibe, see everything, because now we're in each other's spaces. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm in your face every single day. Can you deal with that? Not when we get married. I'm in your face. I do something. You mistakenly beat me up. Half all that. You know what I'm saying?
So no, I agree. We have the same thing in our culture. And like I said, like I've always said that, once I do meet the person that I know I want to settle down with, I need to live with you beforehand, because I don't know how you're going to be. And this is what I said in my TikTok. It's like, you might like get married and move in with them. And then I use the word like, you might find out that they're a dirty pig. Like, and I don't mess with like cleaning, cleanliness, hygiene, and all of that. So I think it's important to like do that beforehand, because that's how you know a person, is when you live with them, like their habits, their true self is that's when you
There's nowhere to hide anymore. But do you think there's a reason why, like, do you think there's a reason why they're like so keen on you can't live with anyone, because like in, cultures where in the Western culture, they're so open to like, move in with your partner, that the partner come on holidays and type stuff. And I'm like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? So like, I want to understand, but obviously my parents never tell me that. But I do want to understand like, why don't we get to like live with someone? I mean, like, we're not going to do anything too horrible, but like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
I think, in my opinion, it definitely stems from religion, I think, and then also shame. And shame is a huge thing in religion as well. Like, people carry a lot of guilt, a lot of shame and everything. And I think culturally, like, especially, in West Africa, that is ingrained in our culture. It is looked down upon if you move. Even me moving out as a single woman, they didn't like that. Well, at the time I was in a relationship, and like, I remember my auntie was like, oh, maybe you and your partner might get together, like get married and whatever. So maybe that would be okay. But as a whole, they were not happy with it. But I think the reason why is because, I don't know. I definitely think it's a religion thing. It's, no sex before marriage. And so obviously when you live with your partner and you're not married, you know what's going to happen, know? So I think for them, it's like, it encourages that. And I just think it's just something that's ingrained in their brains. And so like, whenever they hear us saying, I just want to move out on my own, they're like, oh my God, like, how could you? Like, when I was your age, like, I moved out with my husband. But it's like, we've heard all of these stories of the husband has a second family, or
you know what
he's
I'm saying?
cheating on the wife and everything.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's like, if you had known that before moving in with him,
exactly, you would not have gotten into the situation in the first place. Exactly. That's my belief. I'm still trying to convince my mom, but I don't know how that's going to go. She's never going to believe me when I say that, but it is what it is. It is what it is. What role did your parents' expectations or micromanaging play in your decision to leave?
Oh my goodness, it played a huge role. I think, to be honest, that was the number one thing. It was like expecting me to parent my siblings, expecting me to drop everything. Yeah, it was a huge role. It was like, there were times where like my mum would even ask me if I could take the day off from like uni or take a sick day at work in order to look after my siblings. And it was just like, I can't be doing that. Like, you know, and I remember like we would have arguments where I would be like, you only care about your job. Like, what about mine? Like, I know at the time I was working in retail and my mom's a nurse. So I was like, I know that my job isn't as significant, but I'm working towards something that I can't do that. Like, it's not fair. And it just sort of felt like my needs weren't important. And so once I acknowledged that, I was like, yeah, no, I need to go. Like, you're not going to try to control my life. Like, I'm an adult now. Like, so it was definitely the number one reason. Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, is your mom a single mom?
Not now, but at the time she was. So now she's married.
Okay.
But for most of my life, yes, she raised us as a single mom.
Okay. And I think, us being younger, right? At least like coming from an elder daughter's perspective, right? I just used to be mad at my mom every single time. Like I used to just like pray for the worst for her every single time. And it's like now that I've gotten older, I feel like I have more, I wouldn't call it sympathy. I think I have more understanding for certain things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like there's certain things that she used to do, like when I was younger, and I'd be like, bro, like, can you just shut up? Well, if you're listening to this, I love you. I would never say that to you, but this are my thoughts. But just like, all the yelling and all the, just unnecessary insults and just like degrading. And it was very, very horrible. Like when I was younger. And I just used to pray that, she would just go forever, but like now that I'm older, I see it for what it is. And I think it's because like I've learned more about myself and I've become more self-aware of certain things that they're not necessarily like doing it to you or because of you, but maybe they're angry at themselves or like that's what I'm beginning to realize. And being raised in African culture, like our elders are never going to say they're wrong or they're stressed or they have anxiety or you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's so crazy because I was having a conversation with my parents and I was like, do you guys think you have generational trauma? And I was like, no. And I'm like, baby.
They don't even know. They don't even know. Like,
you get what I mean?
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So like, I'm more, understanding and I'm more comfortable like calling them out. I'm like, I love you, but like, you did not need to say this how you said it, or you did not need to. I know you're scared because like, one thing I know about my mom is like, when she's scared, she starts to yell, or when she's anxious, she starts to yell at everybody.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, I understand that something is going on in your life right now, and I get it. But like, you just need to calm
just chill
down.
Just
like,
relax.
You understand what I'm saying? You just need to relax your spirit.
Yeah. No, I definitely resonate with that a lot. I feel like back then it was like I couldn't tolerate my mum. Like I wanted nothing to do with her. Like I remember always saying, when I move out, I'm going to cut her off. I don't want anything to do with her, and then I moved out and like things were a bit rocky the first couple of months. Like she wouldn't really like check on me. Like weeks would go by and I wouldn't hear from her. But then as time went on, our relationship got better. And currently I definitely have more of an understanding and I give her grace more. And I'm so much more patient with her because, I had to do a lot of like growing up myself. Like, even though I've always been like quite a mature person and emotionally mature person as well, I still had things that I needed to work on. And, I did have like a short temper when it came to her, but in general, I'm quite a laid back person, but she's one of the only people that would trigger me. But now, like, things are so much better, and I understand because I'm like, do you know what? Like, she was doing the best that she could. Like,
Exactly.
I know that she's experienced a lot of trauma in her life, even if she hasn't told me a lot of the things. Like, I understand it because I too have been through like traumatic things, and I know how it can make people react. And yeah, she was just doing the best that she could. And I think the thing is, like, I don't think she understands me. I understand her more than she understands me because I want to. And I'm not saying she doesn't want to, but I just don't feel like she has the capacity for it. And I'm okay with that. Whereas before,
And
I
that's
wasn't. I was like, but I'm your daughter. Like, why do you not know who I truly am? Why do you not care? Like, it's like you don't know me, you know? Whereas now I'm just like, she had a lot on her plate. She still does. Like, it is where it is. I'm not going to like, you know, I let go of the resentment that I held, you know, and I feel so much better, you know.
Yeah. And I'm also like, they're only doing what they saw. Like, everyone is trying, like, I'm just a firm believer that, like, everybody's just trying to figure out this life thing. Everybody's faking it the best they can. So, like, they're acting like parents. And the truth is, they're still kids. You know, like, everyone is still a kid. Everyone is still a kid to somebody. Like, everyone is honestly just trying to figure it out. So, like, when I came to that understanding, like, my mom is so, like, she has such a childlike spirit. But it's just like, when life hits her, it hits her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I needed to understand. And the same thing goes for me. Like, when life hits me, it hits me. And I just like go down. So just like, I'm mad at her when I go through the same things that she goes through. Maybe she's expressing hers like a completely different way. I express mine a completely different way. And it's okay that we don't understand each other like every single time. That's completely fine. But it's also like, you can't force somebody to be something that you want them to be or you expect them to be, you know. Also, like, being African kids or being from the cultivist, or not cultivist, please, the collectivist culture where everybody just expects so much from you. It's like, you have to be fine with, you know, I'm going to bring shame at some point. You know, there's something I'm going to do that the society, the community is not going to be okay
it's
with.
Not going to
And
like,
maybe, and maybe that's moving out. And, you know, another thing I'm like, well, I don't care about it anymore, but I have met people where it's just like, they're still living in this, like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared what my parents think. I'm so scared how my parents are going to feel. I feel like I'm leaving them. And I'm like, I'm more so like, I don't really care. Like, I love my parents to death, but it's just like, bro, like, I'm growing up too. And I cannot be here waiting to please people who honestly probably might not care. Or they will, worst they will do is disown you. Okay, and I feel like even with disowning your kids, like, you're still going to think about them. Like, you can't just disown a child. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to disappear from reality. I'm so sorry. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I've never understood that. Like, you know, my mom, she would kind of like allude to like wanting to disown me, like when I was young, like when I wouldn't do the things that she wanted me to do. But I always knew that she wouldn't. Like, you know, it was, I called her bluff. But you know, I don't speak about my dad that much because I don't speak to him. I don't have a relationship with him. But like, I have like loads of siblings on that side of the family, and he's disowned some of them. And I never understood it. I was just like, how do you live life knowing that you have children
Kids
out there? Like, you actually like contributed to their life, like in terms of them actually being a physical being, and like you're fine with like not speaking to them and just like, you know, disowning them. I just think it's insane. So, you know, whenever parents say that, like, if you move out, I'm going to disown you. If you, I don't know, move in with your boyfriend before you get married, like, you're going to bring shame onto the family. I don't care. Like, you don't know what those other family members are doing. Like, everyone always loves to talk about, oh, so-and-so's going to talk about me. They're going to, I don't know, think that
Who knows what
I
their
didn't
kids are
raise you
doing?
properly. Exactly. And most of the
Who
time,
knows
they're
what they're
doing worse.
That's
You better
exactly
be
why they're
glad.
talking about the other person's kid, because they know their kids are doing worse and they're just happy that they haven't found out the rubbish that their kids are doing. Okay.
Exactly. And it's just like, just be glad that all I want to do is move out. Those kids, you don't know what they're doing. So, you know, so I've sort of got to a stage where I'm just like, you know, I don't care, man. People will talk. There's only so much people can say, and they can only talk for so long. Like,
exactly.
you know, it will blow over eventually. And even if it doesn't, that says a lot about you as a human being than me. So, I do get the whole like guilt thing, but I think at some point you do let it go. I no longer feel guilty about the choice that I made. And I'm so much happier now. So,
period. And I love that for you, girl. I love that for you. I do. But do you think setting boundaries helped or hurt your relationship with your family in the long run?
Do you know what? I've seen me moving out was the first boundary that I set. So it took a lot for me to learn about boundaries and everything. And I think doing it made me think that it was going to hurt my family dynamic and my relationship with everyone. But then I quickly realized that it only made it stronger. It only made the, relationships and whatever stronger because it gave me a different perspective on, myself and the relationship that I have with my family members, especially my mum. And I don't think it hurt the dynamic. If anything, it was for the best. And I think we both know that, I don't think she will ever admit it, but I know that she knows it was best for me to move out.
Yeah. Yeah. If someone were trying to like set boundaries with family, especially like, I don't know, I keep saying like collectivist cultures just because like I know how intrusive they could try to be in our lives and basically like helping us make certain decisions that they probably shouldn't be making. How would you advise someone to be able to handle that in terms of setting boundaries with someone or setting boundaries with family?
Do you know what? Like, this is something I'm still learning, like how to set boundaries with not just family members, but like friends and just people in general. Because I think, the cultures that we grow up in, especially, mentioning that they are collectivist cultures, a lot of the time there's no such thing as boundaries. A lot of us, like, especially back home, like they live with so many different family members in the same bedroom and people will just burst in the door while you're changing or in the bathroom, like people will come in, like you might brush your teeth with your siblings, like someone might be in the shower and someone's like brushing their teeth, like stuff like that. Like there's no such thing as like the physical boundaries. So I feel like when it comes to like, like in terms of like my mom would cross my boundaries when it came to like talking about my body. It's just like, that I don't feel so comfortable with myself, but you're crossing my boundaries by like mentioning, oh, you've lost weight, you're gained weight, this and that. Like, it's not just like physical boundaries are actually living in the house. It's like all these other things as well. But I think it's important to note that it's when you first set boundaries, it's difficult because you're going to feel guilty. You're going to feel like, oh my gosh, like I'm selfish. Why am I doing this? Like everyone's going to like think that I'm a bad person, but you're not a bad person for setting boundaries. It's your life. It's, you're literally, this is you. This is your body. Like this is your soul. Like no one is in control of you. And when people do try to control you, you have to set that boundary. Otherwise, years will go by and you'll be unhappy. And I feel like that's the case, with our parents and grandparents. Like they were being controlled by their parents and, their family members. And there's so many stories of like, when you talk to them about like their careers, for example, a lot of them wanted to do something else, but their parents told them, oh, you have to be a nurse, you have to be a doctor, you have to be a lawyer. And then when they're in their 50s and 60s, like they're talking to their older children or grandchildren saying, oh, if I could go back in time, I wish I could have told my mum, no, like I want to do this instead. And it's like, I don't want that to be my story. So I would definitely advise people to just set the boundary. Like you will never regret it.
Okay, so is there anything you wanted to say that we haven't spoken about already?
Yes. So I actually wanted to talk about how my relationship with my mom has improved since moving out, because when I first moved, like I said, I was like, I don't want to talk to her, I want to cut her off and everything. I didn't think that, it was going to help our dynamic and our relationship. So I feel like I sort of want to like give people hope in a way to let them know that when you choose yourself, it doesn't necessarily mean that everything is going to, go downhill, or it doesn't mean that the relationship that you have with your mother or like your parents or siblings or whoever, like with your family, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be bad all the time. It just depends on the dynamic. It depends on what you want and what your family wants. But I think sometimes you need space from people when it comes to family as well. I think, there's always this thing of like family sticks together no matter what. Like you have to be around them 24/7. It's like, no, they're human beings as well. Like they're gonna piss you off, right? Like they're gonna stress you out. And I feel like being under the same roof with my mum for literally most of my life and like clashing constantly. Like my mum's a Taurus. Like I don't know if you're into like astrology and all of that, but Tauruses are notorious for being stubborn and for just it's their way or the highway. And I'm an Aquarius. I like to do my own thing. I don't like to be boxed in. So we really clash. And so I just want to sort of like be like a testament to moving out and it actually working out for the better. Because trust me, like I didn't think it was going to be this way. Like I don't think my mum and I will be besties, if I'm being honest, but things are so much better. And that's why I keep saying I do not regret it. I don't regret it. I've grown as a person, not only as a person, but as a woman. I have really embraced my femininity, being independent. Like I was always independent at home anyway, but like actually moving out and getting to just do my own thing, like without someone down my throat or like, watching my every move. And like, it's just allowed me to grow and blossom. And I just want people to know that like, it's okay to choose yourself. Like there's nothing wrong with it. You have to at the end of the day,
You don't want to be living every day. That's one thing for sure. I really appreciate you so much. And thank you for sharing to us, your testament to moving out and just your experience and everything.
But honestly, thank you so much for having me. It was such a great conversation. Like, I just love like what you're doing and you have such a great energy. And I'm just happy to be here to support you. Like, not even just to talk about my own story, but just, just to support fellow Black sister, So
you know how he's going.
Yes. And exactly. But no, it's been a great conversation. And it's honestly like, been nice actually reflecting on my journey because I haven't actually thought about all of this in a long time. So thank you.
Alrighty, wannabes, let me know your favorite bits of this episode. And if you want to share your own story on Wanna Be Americana, please reach out to us on IG at Wanna Be Americana. And yes, you guys, talk soon, wannabes. Bye.